to restart this, so bear with me a minute. I flubbed pretty badly, so I had to fix it. Yeah. All right, so I am on this kick of making cards that are the same but different. I came across this idea by watching a woman by the name of Therese. She's Australian, and her channel is Lost in Paper. I absolutely love to listen to her accent, and she makes some of the cutest and also some of the most elegant cards that I've seen. She just makes beautiful cards. So to be inspired by her is pretty awesome, I think. Anyway, she uses stamp sets and paper kind of in combination to make more than 2 cards that are basically the same but different in some way. So I had these 2 cut-aparts that I had from I believe it's a fall paper pad. It was a 6x6. Anyway, I wasn't going to back this one on this hot pink, but since I did this one, I decided I'd go ahead and do it. So I have the cut apart, and it's backed on just a scrap piece of polka dotted paper that I had, really. And then I backed it on the hot pink, and then these little tiny gems, I'll explain that in a second. This one I just backed on the hot pink, and again used these little tiny gems. The little tiny gems came out of this guy. The reason why it has a pink stick is because it came out of a French manicure set that I had, and the nail polish went bad, and I was going to throw these guys away, and I thought, oh, wait a minute. There are a lot of times I look for little teeny tiny gems like these guys and can't find them. So I kept those for this purpose. It just happened to have these cute little leaf shape in green, and they fit these little tiny leaves perfectly. So I used them. Then where they are the same is I'm using the same color of cardstock. I'm using it 2 different ways. I'm doing a top fold and a side fold. But my mats are all the same, just done the opposite. I wasn't going to use the purple, but because I cut this one too small, I didn't like it, so I had to put something behind it. That's the only reason I even used this purple. And where I messed up last time is I put it down on my card base so lopsided that pulling it up was going to tear it up, and I didn't want to do that. So I cut it apart. Anyway, this is a top fold card. It's cut at 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. This guy is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Then we have this guy cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And then this one is cut at 3 3/4 by 5. Trying to figure out, I don't like this purple mat on top. And then that's going to go on there. That was my intended one. I don't like this purple on top, so it may shrink. This card base is a side opening. It is cut at 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. Then this mat is 4 by 5 1/4, and this one is 3 3/4 by 5. Because originally it was going to be like that. Maybe I'll just mat this again and cut it down. Let's do that, because I don't like this big purple plain piece on here. He's wanting to move out, in 2018, which is awesome for him. You know, he gets to go off and start his life. I, as his mother, am not too happy about him leaving home, but I am happy for him because he should be living his life at his age. You know what I mean? So that does make me happy for him. It's just, you know, I talk with him every day face to face, and I'll miss that. But truth be told, and that's all I know how to do is be honest. Because when I was younger, I tried to lie, and I was a terrible liar, so I gave up on that when I was a lot younger. But my husband and I, since we have been together, and I've mentioned this before, that he was a single dad and I was a single mom, and we've always been parents in our relationship. And anyone who has been remarried and has a blended family will understand that sometimes that can be really tough on a relationship, and there are a lot of relationships that don't last because of it. And my husband and I are strong, and we're strong together. But it'll be nice for he and I to have time for he and I without worrying about being a parent at that moment. You know what I mean? Without having to 24/7 be a hands-on parent. Now, my son's an adult. I don't have to be a 24/7 parent at this point. However, he does still live in our home, and he and I have conversation every day, and my husband and him have conversation every day, you know. So again, we are 24/7 parents. And for my husband and I to have a relationship that is independent of that will be new for us. We'll always be parents, but it's different. And you all know that. Anyone that is a parent knows that when your child moves out, your relationship with your significant other is different than it was when you were constantly being a parent. I hope I explained that correctly. So, I'm excited for my son to experience life the way he wants to experience life, you know, without. And he don't have to do it now, and I've told him that. You don't have to tell me where you're going. You're a grown man. But he still does. Just to be considerate, and so I won't worry about him. And it'll be different for him to not have to holler, hey, Mom, I'll be back in a while. I'm going to blah, 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 you know. It'll be different for him. It'll be a big change. But he's excited about the idea of moving out, and he wants things. See, we're almost done. All we have to do is put these guys on. I asked him if he was going to have a roommate because one of his best friends all through middle school and high school is moving away from the roommates that he has now because they're slobs. I mean, I don't know any other way to put it. And my son has OCD and is a neat freak. So, but my son said no. He said, I want to live on my own with nobody for at least a year. And I'm really proud of him for that, you know. Being 100% independent. I'm really proud of him for that. So we are stockpiling things that he will need. And that's, some of what he wanted for Christmas was things he'll need when he moves out. And I'm real proud of him. I've always been a proud mom. I will always be a proud mom. And, I think back on my life before being a mom, and it's hard to picture. It's extremely hard to picture what life was like before motherhood, because it's been, well, I say it's been more than 23 years, because you do have to count the time that you were pregnant, because everything changes from the time you find out you're pregnant. It's been the biggest blessing in my life. I'm excited that one day he'll get married and I'll be a grandma, I don't want that to be soon. I want him to experience his life before that. But, I've told him, if you want to do any kind of traveling, you need to do that before having children. You can settle down with someone and y'all can travel together. But once you have kids, it becomes a whole lot harder to save the money to go travel. Any parent will understand that. That's one thing I didn't like about this cut apart, is this big circle right here. I think they intended for it to be a tag or something. I don't know. I think I'm going to put this bow on here. I'm the first one to admit this. My son was an only child of mine. He's the only one I have. He was spoiled. Now, he did have to wait for things because I couldn't always afford everything right when it came out. But he still got extremely spoiled. I'm very blessed to have a son who was spoiled, but is very responsible in every aspect, and driven for sure. I mean, any of you that's been with me a while, you know that we have attended a few graduations from colleges, because he's a driven young man, and I am very blessed to be able to say that, because he has a few friends that are, well, deadbeat would be putting it nicely. Don't even have a job. They're 23 years old, have never had a job. He's got one friend that he had in high school who literally is 23 years old, has never gotten his driver's license just because he didn't want to. His dad will drive him around. That was his words. My dad will take me wherever I want to go. Has never had a job because my dad will give me anything I want. And here he is, 23 years old, still living at home, but never have had a job, ever. Doesn't go to school, didn't finish high school. And I've talked with my son about that and said there is no way on God's green earth that you'd be a lazy bum in my house. That just would not happen. Because that's how I see that, He is, why should that kid do anything different when his dad will continue to do the things he's doing? That's sad. Because, he's cheating his son of learning some lessons in this life. And when he has to learn them, it's going to be hard. He won't know what to do. And in my opinion, that's sad. Thanks for spending a little bit of time with me. I certainly appreciate it. Thanks for listening to my story. If you stuck through to the end. Sorry, I got the hiccups now. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day and a glorious tomorrow. Bye, guys.